Hey everybody, we're back with chapters 10 and 11 from the Coleman and Kerbo book. This week we're going to be looking at gender inequality. We're going to be talking about sexism, gender inequality, and heterosexism, all as issues within the social sphere. Similar to last time when we looked at the difference between race and ethnicity, this time we're going to start off by looking at the differences between sex and gender, because those are not the same thing. They're not the same term, even though they are used interchangeably quite often. And then we're going to look at different perspectives on gender inequality and on heterosexism. We're going to look at the sociobiological perspective, and the socialization perspective of these. So we're going to be looking at sort of the biological side as well as the socialization side of things. And kind of looking at those as a continuum and where gender identity falls all along that continuum. Then we're going to be looking at feminism and what is the history of feminism, as well as what feminism really means today. What does it mean to be a feminist? Because it's not necessarily typically what you might think of when you hear the word feminist. It's not the feminazi crap, and it's not the bra-burning, anti-men crap that we heard from the 70s. So much more tempered and sort of logical understanding of what it means to be feminist. So we'll take a look at that. We're going to look then at sexual behavior and sexual orientation and homosexuality, and exactly what does that mean in terms of a person's own identity in who they are sexually attracted to, because that's really what it's all about. It has nothing to do with the way that people behave and whether they're feminine or masculine or effeminate or anything like that. It has to do simply with sexual identity. Very base concept. And so we'll take a look at that and some of the definitions that surround that. And then you'll have an opportunity to sort of understand how there's a lot of politics and misunderstanding that are all grounded on misidentification and not really understanding the definitions as they exist, according to sociologists and according to people who study this, for a living, researchers who work on this for their entire career. We'll look at the history of gay and lesbian rights and where that has started, where it has come to since then. And then we'll take a look at the causes, quote-unquote, of homosexuality, or of different sexual orientation, sexual preference, however you want to put it. Because there are many, again, misconceptions in terms of what the cause of this is, and it's still not something that we entirely understand. Much of it has to do with, the wiring of the brain chemistry, and things that frankly we still just don't know a lot about, whether it has to do with homosexuality or mental illness. There's just a lot going on in the brain that we don't understand. And so these are complex issues. They're also issues that can be uncomfortable for some people, and I appreciate that. I understand that if you happen to be coming from that perspective. But I'm asking you, this is an online course, so you don't have to feel embarrassed or self-conscious that people are going to be looking at you one way or another, but sit there and think about these issues as you go through the readings and as you go through my notes, and take an opportunity to kind of question exactly what are the preconceived notions that you might have had on some of these issues before getting into these readings, and how does that change now that you understand some of the research on this and some of the history of these particular topics. I think it's something that, again, even if you're uncomfortable talking about these kind of things, it's important that we understand it and grasp it from a scientific perspective, from a social scientific perspective, and from the sociological perspective. So don't forget the quiz, and then I'll see you in the discussion forum.